My name is Camille Hart. I'm 32 years old and I work as a pediatric nurse in New Jersey. 3 years ago, I learned something that shattered everything I thought I knew about my family. My daughter's life was worth exactly $15,000 to them. My brother's Instagram aesthetic was worth $250,000. Let me be clear about something from the start. This isn't a story about money. Money was just the measurement they used to show me where I ranked. This is a story about watching your parents choose a party over your child's heartbeat. About smiling through humiliation so profound it rewires something in your brain. About the day they came back, 3 years later, expecting forgiveness because they finally needed something. I never imagined I'd be the person who shuts the door on her own parents. I was raised to believe family was sacred, that blood meant loyalty, that you always found a way to forgive. But standing in my doorway that October afternoon, watching my father rehearse the apology he'd clearly practiced in the car, I realized something. They hadn't come back because they'd changed. They'd come back because Marcus had failed, and I was supposed to be the safety net again. The doorbell camera caught everything. 23 seconds of footage that would later be viewed 4 million times. My mother's fake warmth, my father's entitled expectation, Marcus hovering behind them, broke and desperate, and me, calm, composed, completely done, saying 7 words before closing the door. But I'm getting ahead of myself. To understand why that moment felt like freedom, you need to understand what they did. You need to see exactly how far people will go to maintain their illusions while you're drowning right in front of them. Let me take you back to where it started, back to when I still believed they loved me. Before we dive into how I set myself free, please take a moment to like and subscribe, but only if you truly enjoy this story. Where are you watching from? Drop your city below in the comments. Now, let me take you back to where it all began. Growing up, I genuinely believed I had won the parent lottery. Richard and Patricia Hart weren't just successful, they were generous. They funded my nursing school without hesitation. When I got my first apartment, they bought me furniture. When I married young and divorced badly at 26, they let me move back home with my infant daughter, Sophia, for 8 months while I rebuilt my life. No judgment, no lectures, just support. "That's what family does," my mother would say, squeezing my hand across the dinner table. "We take care of each other." My father was the kind of dad who showed up. Every school play, every graduation, every milestone. He taught me to ride a bike in the driveway of our suburban home, running beside me until I found my balance. When I fell and scraped my knee, he carried me inside on his shoulders, telling me that Hart women were made of titanium. I believed him. My brother Marcus was 8 years younger, the surprise baby my parents called their second chance. I never resented him. How could I? He was a golden-haired, charming kid who worshipped me. I taught him to read. I defended him from bullies in middle school. When he got into his dream college, I drove 6 hours to help him move into his dorm. We weren't one of those dysfunctional families you see on reality TV. We had Sunday dinners. We texted in a group chat. My parents posted photos of Sophia constantly, their first grandchild, the light of their lives. My mother literally cried the first time Sophia called her Nana. "You've given me the greatest gift," she whispered to me at Sophia's 3rd birthday party, watching her granddaughter blow out candles shaped like butterflies. "I'm going to make sure this little girl knows she's loved every single day." I had no reason to doubt her. There was this moment, I think about it often now, from 2 years before everything fell apart, my father's 60th birthday. The whole family gathered at an upscale restaurant in Princeton. Marcus brought his girlfriend Vanessa, a petite brunette with a marketing degree and an impressive tolerance for my mother's unsolicited life advice. Toward the end of the night, after the cake and speeches, my father stood up with his wineglass and got emotional. This wasn't like him. Richard Hart was controlled, measured, a man who'd built wealth through discipline and strategy. But that night, he cried. "I've made mistakes," he said, his voice cracking. "I worked too much when you kids were young. I prioritized things that didn't matter. But I want you both to know, Emma, Marcus, that you are my proudest accomplishments. Not the portfolios, not the investments. You." He looked directly at me. "Emma, you're the strongest person I know. The work you do, the mother you've become, I inspire me. I hope you know that if you ever needed anything at all, I would move mountains for you." I remember crying. I remember Marcus squeezing my shoulder. I remember thinking, this is what unconditional love looks like. I kept that moment in my pocket like a talisman. When things got hard, when Sophia had night terrors after the divorce, when hospital shifts left me hollowed out, when I felt like I was failing at everything, I'd replay my father's words. "I would move mountains for you." It turns out mountains are easier than writing a check. My relationship with my parents wasn't perfect. Whose is? My mother could be overbearing, obsessed with appearances and what the neighbors thought. My father had a tendency to lecture about financial responsibility while also buying luxury cars. But these felt like minor flaws, quirks, not character defects. Marcus, for all his charm, had always been a little careless with money. He'd launched 3 startups by age 27, each funded partially by our parents, each folding within 18 months. But they never complained. "He's finding himself," my mother would say. "He's gonna change the world one day." I didn't mind. I was the stable one, the responsible one. That was my role. Marcus was the dreamer. We balanced each other out. I never once thought what happens when the stable one needs help. The last truly good memory I have of all of us together was Sophia's 4th birthday, March 2023. We had a princess party in my modest townhouse. Nothing fancy, just purple streamers and a grocery store cake. But my parents showed up with presents. A pink bicycle with training wheels from my dad, a massive dollhouse from my mom. Marcus and Vanessa came too. Vanessa spent an hour playing tea party with Sophia, while Marcus helped me clean up. "You're a really good mom," he told me, tossing paper plates in the trash. "Better than I'll probably ever be as a parent." I assured him, "You'll be great. You just need to find the right moment." He hugged me. "Love you, sis. Love you too." 2 months later, everything changed, and it happened so fast I didn't even see it coming. The diagnosis came in early May. Sophia had been complaining about being tired, struggling to keep up with other kids at pre-K. I'd chalked it up to growing pains, maybe seasonal allergies. But when she fainted during a play date, I took her straight to the pediatric cardiologist who ran every test I'd spent years watching other parents endure. Atrial septal defect with pulmonary hypertension. A hole in her heart. Fixable, the cardiologist assured me, but urgent. Without surgery, her heart would fail within 2 years. With surgery, she'd live a completely normal life. The surgery cost $47,000. My insurance covered $32,000. That left $15,000 I didn't have. I called my parents that same afternoon, sitting in my car outside the hospital, hands shaking so badly I could barely hold my phone. "Dad, I need help." There was a pause, not a good pause, a calculating one. "What kind of help?" I explained everything, the diagnosis, the surgery, the timeline. "I can get a loan, but the interest rates are predatory. I'll pay you back. I just need—" "15,000?" he said flatly. "Yes, I know it's a lot, but we'll need to think about it." I actually laughed, not because it was funny, because my brain couldn't process what I'd just heard. Think about it? "Camille, you're 32 years old. You make a decent salary. You should have savings for emergencies." "This isn't a vacation, Dad. This is Sophia's heart." And I understand that's frightening, but Patricia and I have worked very hard to build financial security. We can't just hand out money every time someone has a crisis. Someone. Not my daughter, not his granddaughter. Someone? I'm not asking you to hand out money. I'm asking you to help save your granddaughter's life. His voice cooled. Let me discuss it with your mother. We'll call you back. They didn't call back that night, or the next day, or the day after that. When my mother finally texted, it was a 3-line message. Your father and I talked. We think this is an opportunity for you to take responsibility for your own life. You're capable. Figure it out. Love you. Figure it out? I stared at those 3 words until they blurred. Then I called Marcus. Hey sis, what's up? I told him everything. The diagnosis, the cost, the conversation with our parents. I don't understand what's happening. Since when do they not help family? Marcus was quiet for a moment. Look, I don't know what to tell you. They've been weird lately, kind of stressed about money. Maybe they're not as liquid as they seem. They just bought a new Lexus. I know, I don't get it either, he sighed. I wish I could help, but Vanessa and I are planning the wedding and… Right, of course. I forgot. I tried to keep my voice steady. When is that again? September, Italy. It's going to be insane. Mom's basically planning the whole thing. He paused. Hey, you're still coming, right? I remember looking at Sophia through my living room window. She was drawing with crayons at the kitchen table, completely unaware that her grandparents had just valued her life at less than a car. Yeah, I lied. Wouldn't miss it. Over the next 2 weeks, I worked triple shifts. I picked up every overtime opportunity, every weekend, every holiday. I took out a personal loan at 18% interest. I sold my car and bought a cheaper one. I maxed out 2 credit cards. I asked my ex-husband for help. He sent $500 and a text that said, "That's all I can do." I didn't hear from my parents once during this time. But I saw them on Facebook, commenting on Marcus's posts about wedding venues, liking photos of floral arrangements. My mother posted a status, "Can't believe my baby boy is getting married. Patricia Hart, mother of the groom, has a nice ring to it. Hart." Sophia had her surgery on May 29th. She was in the OR for 6 hours. I sat in the waiting room alone, answering messages from concerned coworkers and friends. My phone buzzed constantly. My parents sent nothing. When the surgeon came out and told me the surgery was successful, that Sophia was going to be fine, I cried so hard a nurse had to help me to a chair. I called my mother from the recovery room. "She's okay," I said, my voice hoarse. "The surgery went well." "Oh, that's wonderful news!" My mother sounded genuinely relieved. "See, we knew you could handle it. You're so strong, Camille. We're proud of you." Proud. I hung up without saying goodbye. That should have been the end of it. That should have been the moment I walked away. But I didn't. Because there was still a part of me, stubborn, hopeful, pathetically desperate, that believed they'd realize what they'd done. That believed Marcus's wedding would come and go, and then we'd all sit down and have an honest conversation about what had happened. I really believed that. The wedding invitation arrived in July. Cream cardstock, gold embossed lettering, Marcus and Vanessa, Tuscany, Italy, black tie required. The envelope also contained an insert, "Adults only celebration. Thank you for understanding." No children, which meant no Sophia, which meant I'd have to pay for childcare on top of flights and accommodations I couldn't afford for a wedding happening 3 months after I'd nearly lost my daughter. I called Marcus. "Did you know about the no kids policy?" "Yeah, Vanessa really wanted it to be elegant, adult vibe." "Marcus, I can't leave Sophia. She just had open heart surgery." "She'll be fine with a babysitter for a weekend. Come on, it's my wedding." "Do you have any idea what the last 3 months have been like for me?" His tone shifted, defensive. I know it's been hard, but this is my wedding, Camille. One weekend, that's all I'm asking. Can't you just be happy for me? I wasn't invited to the bridal shower, or the engagement party, or the bachelorette weekend in Miami. But I saw every moment on Instagram. My mother radiant in designer dresses, toasting champagne. My father laughing at some country club. Marcus and Vanessa glowing and gorgeous, living a life so far removed from mine, it felt like a different universe. The wedding was September 16th. I didn't go. I told Marcus I couldn't afford it. He said he understood, but his voice was cold, disappointed, like I'd failed some crucial test. The Monday after the wedding, my mother called. I didn't recognize her voice at first. She sounded drunk, happy drunk. Oh, Camille, you should have been there. It was magical, absolutely magical. I'm glad it went well. The venue overlooked the vineyards, the sunset during the ceremony. I cried. Your father cried. Everyone cried. She laughed, light and careless. The food was spectacular, 5 courses, and the fireworks at the end. Marcus wanted to do something special, so we hired this company that synchronized them to music. It was like a movie. Sounds beautiful. It was perfect, worth every penny. Worth every penny. I don't remember what I said next. I think I made an excuse and hung up. Then I opened Instagram. My mother had posted 47 photos. My father had posted 12. Marcus had posted a professional highlight reel set to romantic music. The wedding photographer had tagged her portfolio. Hart Wedding, Tuscany. $250,000 production. $250,000. I sat on my bathroom floor and did the math. My daughter's life? $15,000. My brother's party? $250,000. The ratio was 1 to 16.6, repeating. Every photo was a knife. The custom cocktails named after the couple, the live band flown in from Los Angeles, the designer suits, the couture dress, the vintage wine, the celebrity florist, the drone footage. And in the comments, dozens of people asking, "Where's Camille?" My mother responded to one, "She couldn't make it. Work obligations. So sad." Work obligations. Not, "Her daughter just had open heart surgery." Not, "We failed her when she needed us most." Work obligations. I screenshotted every post, every comment, every expense breakdown the photographer and vendors had proudly tagged. I saved them in a folder on my laptop labeled Remember. Because I knew that if I didn't document this, I'd convince myself I'd exaggerated the cruelty. I'd gaslight myself into thinking it wasn't that bad, that family meant you had to forgive everything. The final post went up 2 weeks later, a professional video, 10 minutes long. Marcus and Vanessa's love story, narrated by some filmmaker they'd hired. In the video, my father gave a speech. I watched it once, just once. Marcus, you've always known what you wanted. You've never settled. You've never been afraid to dream big. And that's why your mother and I wanted to give you this gift, this perfect day, because you deserve it, because we believe in you, because we'd do anything for you. Anything for you. I closed my laptop. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't break anything. I just sat in the silence of my townhouse, listening to Sophia laugh at cartoons in the other room, and felt something fundamental break inside me. Not my heart, that was already broken. My illusions. I'm going to stop here for a second. If this story is resonating with you at all, or if you've ever felt the pain of being misunderstood by the people who are supposed to love you most, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe. It really lets me know that sharing these hard stories is worth it. I stopped answering my parents' calls. Not dramatically, not with some big declaration. I just stopped. When they texted, I responded with one-word answers. Fine, busy, later. When they asked to see Sophia, I said she had playdates, doctor's appointments, commitments. My mother noticed first. "You've been so distant lately. Is everything okay?" "Everything's fine."
You sound upset. I'm not upset. Are you angry about the wedding? Because we invited you. I said I'm fine. By November, they stopped trying so hard. The texts became weekly instead of daily, then bi-weekly. By December, it was just holiday pleasantries. Marcus noticed too. Mom says you're avoiding them. I'm not avoiding anyone. I'm just busy. With what? Work? Sophia? Life? You're being weird. I'm really not. He didn't push it. Neither did they. Because the truth was, they were all busy basking in Marcus's new life. He and Vanessa moved into a stunning brownstone in Hoboken. He launched yet another startup, this one in cryptocurrency, funded by our parents to the tune of $80,000. We believe in him, my mother said when I saw the business announcement on LinkedIn. She'd commented, so proud of our brilliant son. I watched from a distance as they built their new narrative, the successful son with the beautiful wife and the promising business, the proud parents who'd invested in their children's dreams. I wasn't part of that story anymore, and once I noticed, I saw it everywhere. Christmas card from my parents, photo of Marcus and Vanessa at the wedding. No Sophia, no me. My mother's Instagram bio, wife, mother, blessed Nana, investor, philanthropist. Philanthropist. She donated to children's hospitals. The irony would have been funny if it wasn't so devastating. I started therapy in January, not because I was falling apart, I'd learned to function through crisis during my nursing training, but because I knew I needed help processing what had happened. Dr. Sharon Kim was a no-nonsense woman in her 50s who'd specialized in family trauma for 20 years. In our third session, I told her about the wedding. They spent $250,000 3 months after refusing to help save my daughter's life. She didn't look shocked. She'd heard worse. How does that make you feel? Like I don't matter. Like Sophia doesn't matter. Like we're supporting characters in their story about Marcus. Do you think that's true? I think they love the idea of me, the strong, independent daughter who doesn't need anything, the nurse who helps people. But the moment I actually needed them, I became an inconvenience. What do you want from them now? I thought about it for a long time. I want them to acknowledge what they did. I want them to apologize. I want them to understand that you can't love someone conditionally and call it family. And if they don't, then I'm done. Dr. Kim nodded. That's healthy, but I want you to prepare yourself for the possibility that they never will. Some people are incapable of seeing their own cruelty. They'll rewrite history to protect their self-image. She was right. In February, my mother called. I think we should talk about why you've been avoiding us. I haven't been avoiding you. Camille, we hardly see you anymore. We haven't seen Sophia since Christmas. That's not normal. You didn't help me when she almost died. Silence. Long, empty silence. Is that what this is about? That was months ago. We explained our position. Your position was that my daughter's life wasn't worth $15,000. That's not fair. We were trying to teach you responsibility. You spent $250,000 on Marcus's wedding. More silence. Then that's different. How? Marcus is at a different stage of life. He needed our support to start his marriage well. And Sophia needed her heart to work. Don't be dramatic. You figured it out. You always do. That's why we're proud of you. I laughed. Actually laughed. You're proud of me for nearly destroying my financial life to save my daughter because you wouldn't help? We gave you the gift of self-reliance. I hung up. I blocked their numbers. I unfollowed them on social media. I told Marcus that unless he wanted to have an honest conversation about what happened, he shouldn't contact me either. He didn't contact me. For 6 months, I heard nothing, and in that silence, something unexpected happened. I started to heal. Not in the way I'd imagined, where they apologized and we reconciled, but in a different way, a way where I stopped needing them to understand. I built a life without them, a smaller life, but a real one. And that's when they showed up at my door. The first thing I did was establish boundaries with everyone, not just my parents. Everyone. I told my coworkers I wasn't available for last-minute shift swaps anymore.
I told Sophia's school I wouldn't volunteer for every bake sale and field trip. I told my ex-husband that child support wasn't optional, and if he couldn't contribute financially, he needed to be consistent with his visitation instead of treating Sophia like an afterthought. I learned to say no. Turns out it's a complete sentence. Dr. Kim helped me understand something crucial. I'd spent my whole life performing worthiness, being the responsible one, the helper, the strong one who never needed anything. And my family had loved that version of me, the version that made their lives easier. The moment I needed something back, I'd broken the contract. You were never allowed to be fully human in that dynamic, Dr. Kim explained. Fully human means sometimes needing help, sometimes being vulnerable, sometimes saying, "I'm drowning and I need you to throw me a rope, not a lecture." So I started practicing being fully human. I joined a single mother's support group at the hospital. I met women who understood the specific exhaustion of carrying everything alone. We traded babysitting. We shared resources. We celebrated small victories like paid-off credit cards and successful parent-teacher conferences. One woman, Lisa, became a genuine friend. She'd survived an abusive marriage and cut off her entire family when they sided with her ex-husband. "It gets easier," she promised me over coffee one afternoon. "Not the grief, that comes in waves forever, but the clarity gets easier. Eventually, you stop questioning whether you did the right thing." I wanted to believe her. I threw myself into work, but differently than before, not as an escape, as a calling. I started mentoring new nurses. I developed a program to help families navigate pediatric cardiac care, including financial resources and support networks. I turned my trauma into something useful. Sophia thrived. Her scar healed into a thin line down her chest, a reminder that she'd survived. She started kindergarten, she made friends, she laughed constantly. She never once asked why Nana and Papa didn't visit anymore. Children are resilient like that. They accept the world they're given. I wasn't as resilient. Some nights, I'd scroll through old photos of my parents holding baby Sophia, looking at her like she was the entire universe, and I'd try to reconcile those people with the ones who'd said, "Figure it out," when she needed surgery. I couldn't. Dr. Kim said that was okay. Cognitive dissonance is painful, but sometimes the truth is just that people are capable of both genuine love and profound cruelty. It doesn't make the love fake, it makes them complicated. I didn't want them to be complicated. I wanted them to be villains or heroes, black or white. But gray is so much harder to walk away from. By October, a full year after I'd blocked them, I was in a genuinely good place. I'd paid off half my debt, Sophia was healthy, I was sleeping through the night, I'd started dating someone kind, a teacher named Ben who brought Sophia books and never once made me feel like I was too much or not enough. I'd stopped thinking about my parents every day, then every week. They'd become a scar, like Sophia's, present but not painful. And that's when my doorbell rang. It was a Sunday afternoon. Sophia was at a birthday party. I was baking, my defining habit, the thing I did when I needed to feel grounded. Chocolate chip cookies. The kitchen smelled like butter and vanilla. I checked my phone first, saw the notification from my Ring camera. 3 people on my doorstep. My mother, my father, Marcus. My hands went still on the mixing bowl. I watched the live feed. My mother was wearing her important conversation outfit, cream slacks, a coral blouse, expensive jewelry. My father stood with his hands in his pockets, shoulders tense. Marcus looked uncomfortable, shifting his weight from foot to foot. My father reached out and rang the bell again. I dried my hands on a dish towel, walked to the door, paused with my hand on the knob. Every therapy session I'd had played through my mind, every boundary I'd set, every lesson I'd learned about my worth. I opened the door. "Camille!" My mother's face flooded with relief. "Oh, sweetheart, we've missed you so much." She moved to hug me. I stepped back. "What are you doing here?" We came to talk, my father's voice had that reasonable, let's be adults tone. It's been too long, family shouldn't go this long without speaking. I looked at Marcus. He wouldn't meet my eyes. Where's Vanessa? Marcus flinched. We're separated, getting divorced. And the startup? Failed. His voice was barely audible. I'm living with Mom and Dad right now, until I figure things out. Everything clicked into place. They didn't come because they'd changed. They came because Marcus needed them again, and they were running out of money. They came because in their world, enough time passing meant everything should just reset to normal. They came because they needed something from me. My mother reached out again. Can we come in? We have so much to talk about. We want to make things right. I looked at her hand, at the diamond bracelet on her wrist, probably $20,000. At my father's watch, another $10,000 easily. At Marcus, broken and desperate, the golden child who'd finally tarnished. And I felt nothing. Not anger, not satisfaction, not even sadness. Just clarity.
No, I said. My mother blinked. What? No, you can't come in. My father stepped forward. Camille, be reasonable. We're your parents. You're the people who taught me that love has a price tag. $15,000 was too much for Sophia. $250,000 was reasonable for Marcus's party. I learned that lesson. Thank you. That's not what... My mother's voice cracked. We made a mistake. We see that now. We want to apologize. You want forgiveness because it's convenient now, because Marcus failed and you need your stable daughter back, the one who doesn't ask for anything, the one who makes you feel good about yourselves. That's not fair, Marcus said quietly. I looked at him directly for the first time. You're right, it's not fair. Nothing about the last 2 years has been fair, but fairness isn't something I'm owed. I figured that out when I was alone in a hospital waiting room while you were planning color schemes for your wedding. I'm sorry, Marcus whispered. I know you are. You're sorry because everything fell apart, not because you hurt me. There's a difference. My father's expression hardened. So what? You're just going to shut us out forever? That's your solution? My solution is to protect myself and my daughter. You're not entitled to access to us. You didn't earn it. You spent it. My mother started crying, real tears. Please, we're family. Family is supposed to be the people who show up when you're drowning. You watched me drown and told me to figure it out. So I did. I figured out that I'm better off without you. I started to close the door. Camille, wait. I hope Marcus figures things out. I hope you all find whatever it is you're looking for, but you won't find it here. I closed the door, locked it, walked back to my kitchen. My hands were shaking. My heart was racing, but underneath the adrenaline was something I hadn't felt in 2 years. Peace. The cookies were slightly overdone. I didn't care. I ate one anyway, standing at my counter, watching through the window as my parents' car pulled away. My phone buzzed. The Ring camera had automatically uploaded the clip. 23 seconds of footage, the whole conversation. I saved it to the cloud. Not to share, not for revenge, just as a reminder. A reminder that I'd survived the people who were supposed to protect me, that I'd built a life without them, that I'd learned to stop waiting for people to give me the love I deserved and started giving it to myself instead. Sophia came home an hour later, hyper from birthday cake and prizes. Mama, can we make pizza for dinner? Absolutely. Can we watch a movie after? Whatever you want, baby. She hugged me, her small body pressed against mine, her heartbeat strong and steady beneath my palm. This was my family now, just the two of us, and that was enough. More than enough. They say closure comes from the person who hurt you, that you need their apology, their acknowledgement, their change. But that's not true. Closure comes from accepting that some people will never understand what they've done, and choosing yourself anyway. Choosing peace over performance. Choosing boundaries over belonging. Choosing the family you build over the family you were born into.
My parents showed me exactly who they were when I needed them most. I finally believed them, and that belief set me free. This was another story from Revenge Room, where we turn pain into purpose and betrayal into balance. If this story made you think about your own relationships, your own boundaries, or your own worth, please share your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever had to walk away from family? How did you know it was time? What did healing look like for you? Please don't forget to subscribe and join us for the next transformation.